What's up, peeps? Today I got the expert in Crypto Compass 24. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, Kevin? How you doing?
Good, man. Everything's good. So today I got a couple questions for you. First and foremost, starting with like look what's going on today in the current market. Can you tell us a little bit more about your view on crypto?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, it's insane. We're already close to all-time highs for Bitcoin, which was 69,000 that we made back in 2021, and we're already touching that, like very close to it before the halvening. And for those of you who don't know, the halvening event happens every 4 years, and normally Bitcoin doesn't make an all-time high till after the halvening. So it usually comes in cycles. So we've had a bear market, and now we're coming into a bull. And honestly, it's insane for me to see. And a big part of that is like this institutional money that's coming in, like BlackRock and these ETFs. And eventually we'll see a Ethereum ETF. Right now, we just have a Bitcoin one. It's just crazy to see. I'm loving every part of it, to be honest. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what's coming in the future, especially when it comes to both of our channels kind of talking about the power that people can have once they learn how to manage their own money. I feel
Yeah.
like crypto goes in par with like, just steady investing and, financial literacy. Uh, how do you feel about, some of the ETFs that have been coming out in the recent months?
Yeah, I feel like insanely bullish on it, to be honest, because before, like even just like last cycle, which was about 2 years ago, and the previous one before that, 4 or 5 years ago, all these big banks and institutions, they would always just shut down Bitcoin. They would call it like a scam, or they would say, this is not real money. This is how people launder money, or people, do illegal stuff. And now all of a sudden they're like FOMOing into it because they're forced into it. It's like the concept of game theory in the sense that you can't, if you can't beat them, join them, right? You kind of have to join it because it's the new foundation of money. That's what blockchain is. So
Absolutely.
it's crazy, honestly.
Okay, now that we see that crypto is growing at such a steady pace, even more higher returns than what the S&P 500 has been giving people for like the past 10 years. I think it's safe to say that people could now start adding crypto to their portfolios for a long term investment. Um, what are your take on those things?
Yeah, no, great question, honestly. And what I've seen are a lot of even financial advisors at these big banks, like Fidelity, for example, they're offering more crypto services. So actually, I had a friend reach out to me saying that he's going to go talk to his consultant about crypto, and it just rang in my head. It's like, wow, that's crazy because this same guy just did not want anything to do with crypto previously, and now it's just getting adopted. So I feel like it's a safer investment now. Obviously, it's a lot more volatile than just like the stock market, or if you're trying to go for a 401k or IRA, those are safer options. But if you want a little more volatility, then maybe you go for more risk reward. And then crypto is that option, and the more cycles it goes through and the more institutional money comes in, eventually it'll stabilize. You won't see Bitcoin go up and down 30-40%. Maybe it'll be more like 10-20%, and it'll be more of like the newer version of like the S&P or something like that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Like the things that we've seen, especially like how we were talking off camera about, people now seeing the power of Bitcoin and them
Mhm.
investing, what will be some tips, I guess, for our viewers where, a lot of people like to navigate the market very emotionally. They like to
Mhm.
invest when they see things surging at a very high price. And unfortunately, sometimes the market does do corrections. What are some safe ways where people could, or sort of strategy per se that people could adapt in order to invest into crypto and slowly add that into their portfolio?
Yeah. So one great way or one strategy that I've also pushed on my channel is just the concept of DCAing, so dollar cost averaging, meaning that crypto is so volatile that if you see a percent down, let's just say Bitcoin goes down 20%, just start scaling in. So don't put 100% of your sideline money in, maybe throw in like 20% as soon as Bitcoin drops 20. And then let's just say Bitcoin dropped another 30% from there, maybe scale in like another 50% from whatever money you have. So that way you're building more coins and your equity may be going down short term, but you're having a bigger and larger bag when your money does go back up, when the asset does recover. And another thing I always recommend is de-risking. So whatever, let's just say you put in originally $1,000 in Bitcoin and it runs up 100%, and now you're sitting on $2,000. I would automatically sell off the original $1,000 you had. So now you're just sitting on house money. So if it goes to zero, it's not the end of the world, and you're not emotional about it because it's not your money to begin with. It's just straight profit.
That's a great strategy, especially for people who are very scared to keep their money in there long term or losing it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely a strong point. Dollar cost averaging has, been a great strategy for people for a long time. I do it myself with Bitcoin, $5 a day. It
Mhm.
never hurts. We might not have like, thousands to throw in there like hedge funds, but
Right.
having a little bit is better than none.
100%. Yeah, because you want some exposure. And another thing just to add on to that is Bitcoin's broken down to things called sats. So that's one Satoshi. So it's actually one, I don't know the exact measure. I think it's 1/100,000. I could be completely wrong on that. So don't quote me on that. But these sats are broken down so that people don't have to be like, oh, I'm just buying a full Bitcoin. That's the thing that people get lost in. They're like, oh, I need Bitcoin's now sitting at 62,000 at the time of recording. And people are like, oh, I need a full Bitcoin. Otherwise, I'm not going to invest. But the thing is, you can buy in portions. Like, just like you were saying, Kevin, you can buy $5 worth every week. And trust me, like within the next 10, 15 years, you're going to be very happy that you're even buying small chunks of it. You're just loading these small Satoshi, but you're going to have a lot bigger bag eventually of it.
Awesome. Yeah, that this is true. Like a lot of people have been doing this with the S&P 500 for a long time, especially with index funds. I'm personally going to continue buying Bitcoin rather than dive into the ETFs just because of the maintenance fees and things of the sort. Now with the current price at almost 62,000, what are your predictions per se on the upcoming halving?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with the happening just literally what like 2 months away now, it's going to get very volatile in my opinion. Normally, historically, if we're looking at the previous run in 2020 when we had our last one, and also before that 2016 when we had our happening, we normally see a dip right near the happening, about maybe a few weeks or a month around the happening. So actually in 2020 we saw a 50% dip, which was super super volatile, but it wasn't just the happening. That was also tied in with like COVID and just panic in the streets, a lot of different factors coming in that sense. But for this time around, I really think, and I truly think it's different because of the institutional money, because it's more backing, more people are adopting it. Even these big companies are getting into it. I don't feel like we'll see as big of a dip, but I do feel like the market is a little euphoric right now, maybe a little overbought, that we may see some kind of dip, maybe 20, 30% on Bitcoin, and then across the market and these other altcoins, maybe a little deeper around 40%. But like I've always been saying for these past few years, those dips are for buying because we are headed into an insanely big like bull run. It's going to be crazy, like gains you've never seen before, especially these smaller coins. They can do easily 1,000x, 1,000, even more, 5,000x, something insane you've never thought of.
Absolutely. I definitely feel like we have a couple more discounts before we hit, the 70, 80K mark where people,
Oh yeah.
it might be a little bit further from their reach. But yeah, absolutely. I definitely do feel like, Bitcoin is going to be a game changer just for the financial world in general. A lot of banks are starting to adapt it. I read an article a few months ago about Europe wanting to adapt an electronic euro, some sort of tokenization for the currency. So, do you feel like that will be something that we might be seeing in the next 10 to 20 years over here in the United States?
Oh yeah. So I mean the Fed, our Federal Reserve, they're already working on their CBDC, right? Their central bank digital coin. So essentially what they're doing is they're using blockchain technology, which is what Bitcoin like started with. That's what Bitcoin invented, and then obviously these other cryptos like Ethereum, for example, are also using blockchain. So the Federal Reserve is going to use blockchain technology, but they're going to use their own stable coin to back it. And we don't know what they're going to back it with. So, like for example, these other nations, like the BRICS, which is composed of multiple nations, they're using gold to back their actual digital currency. So maybe we do the same as the U.S., or maybe they try to use the dollar. But honestly, that wouldn't make sense to me because the dollar just continues to devalue itself. So that's why they're forced to go into this new digital currency. But I do see it maybe even before 10 years, honestly, maybe within the next 5 years. And it's going to be some crazy event, and all of a sudden, cash is worthless and everything is converted from cash to just digital value.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening as well. Just because of all of the major things that have been happening with the economy since the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
and another thing, just to add on to that, is when they make their CBDC, the thing is they technically have control just over that coin, so it won't make it decentralized in the sense of Bitcoin and Ethereum. All these other cryptos are truly decentralized, meaning that they're outside of the government. But when the government creates their own coin, they could do things like limit your spending, or they could be like, you're not. They could not like pay you out for a certain reason, or they could freeze your accounts, like stuff like that. So it's scary. At the same time, it gives them more control, which is something we don't want. That's what crypto aims to go against, which I feel like that's going to be even more bullish case for Bitcoin particularly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially the decentralization of money now gives people the opportunity to, be able to send money without a third party being involved, taking hidden
Mhm.
fees, or just having a public record. Also allows people to, keep, true track of their money. Whereas, you know what they say with banks, basically like even though you see your balance inside of it, they take that money and invest it themselves, and that's how they make profits.
Yep.
That's a wonderful thing about Bitcoin. For people who might just be right now looking at Bitcoin, what are some tips from your based on your knowledge, some altcoins or maybe some different tokens that might allow for some diversification in their portfolios?
Yeah, great question. Because there's like literally millions of altcoins, and not just altcoin. The main altcoins you see are on the Ethereum network, but there's
Yeah.
so many other networks on there. Like I know we were talking earlier about Solana. It's a completely different network, and there's like a whole ecosystem of altcoins over there. Another example would just be like Cardano. They're all separate networks. I would definitely prioritize Ethereum first because I would say it's the number one layer one network outside of all these other networks. They're all just competitors at the end of the day. But I would say look at sectors specifically. So AI has been super, super hot as of recent. So there have been a lot of AI coins that have just been moving. One specifically that I really like is called Tau. The company is called BitTensor. They're just working on AI products. They have AI smart contracts. They have basically putting AI and everything that it does, learning from itself, just throwing that on the blockchain itself. And then you have things like DeFi, which is decentralized finance. So anything you can do with a bank, you can do it decentralized on the crypto network. So, for example, if you wanted to take a loan and you don't have any money, or you don't want to go out and pay some ridiculous 10 to 15% APR or anything like that, you can go on a DeFi platform like Aave, which is AAVE. It's a DeFi platform. You can go and just give something as collateral, and then they loan you money, and then you just pay it back. It's very similar to a bank. So these are two huge, sectors that I really believe in. And then also you have gaming. So just like online gaming, things from all the way from the metaverse to just normal gaming, but you just throw it on the blockchain. And the blockchain just makes it super, super transparent and keeps everything really secure. So everything's public, everything's open, and you really don't have to worry about anyone, stealing anything or any other thing like that. It's just like new technology.
When it comes to securing your digital assets, are you more of a firm believer in digital wallets or physical ledgers?
Yeah, so I would say the safest way of securing your asset is with a ledger, so a physical ledger device, which is a hard wallet, because the only way for you to get your assets off of that hard wallet is for you to have the physical device. Compared to a soft wallet, like a browser wallet that you have on your computer, someone could easily hack into your computer, or they could hack into your wallet, and then they could send it off in seconds. They just send it off to their own wallet, and then it's gone. Like there's no tech support, customer support in the crypto world. So you can't just call up someone and be like, "Oh, my funds were lost, and I don't know where it went." Like it's a tough loss because there's not a lot of regulations currently in crypto. It's still growing because it's a newer space, which could be one downside of it. But that's why I always preach like very safe practices. I always tell people on my channel to always tread carefully, make sure you know what you're connecting, what website you're connecting to, if you do connect your wallet, where you make swaps, and so on. So definitely have a ledger for your long-term holds. You could throw Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these other altcoins, even if NFTs, if you're into trading those, you can throw them all on this ledger, and it keeps it super, super secure.
Great. So you heard it here first, folks. Digital ledgers are always at some sort of liability when it comes to your assets. The best way to do it is with some hard ledgers. You can find
Mhm.
those on in the internet, and they're not too expensive. They're about like $80, $150.
Yeah,
Um,
not bad at all. And just through Ledger, Ledger is probably the best one. So it's just a Ledger company, but there's a bunch of hard wallets out there.
yeah, definitely got to get me one.
Hmm.
What do you think about the the back in 2021 there was a huge surge with new projects and things of the sort for NFTs. Do you think there's a future in that now that Ethereum is back on the rise?
Great question. And to be honest with you, I went through the whole ride of NFTs. Like I started off, I was buying NFTs like right when they came out. There was even like free mints. So basically you mint an NFT. So you're creating the NFT. This is before projects even like made it and just sold it. Like there were lots of opportunity, like no doubt. And people made like dumb money doing it, like crazy. Like they would mint something maybe for like $20, and then the following week they'd sell it for like a few thousand. Like it wasn't, it was like in easy mode basically if you were investing in NFTs. But I truly think it was all just a big casino, and it was very much just like a hype moment. And NFTs obviously they have more value compared to just, buying a picture that is an NFT that gets enough hype, gets enough people in, and then you sell it. But the issue with NFTs is that they're illiquid. So NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens, meaning if you bought a coin like Bitcoin or something, it's very, very liquid because there's so much trading volume and liquidity in the actual protocol. But with NFTs, there's no liquidity. So if you list it, you won't be able to sell it right away. Like I'm almost guaranteed, unless it's a very, very popular NFT, you won't be able to sell it for maybe that same day, maybe a few days, maybe even like months, depending on who buys it. So it's very much transactional, and it's like there has to be a buyer on the other end. So I truly feel like NFTs may have a future, maybe the big projects, but NFTs are more going to be used as, things like in gameplay, for example. Like you can use NFT as like a skin in a gameplay, or like to get a specific character or a vehicle in like a racing game, stuff like that. But in my personal opinion, I wouldn't recommend NFTs. I would think you should go with actual liquid assets like these altcoins, and obviously Ethereum and Bitcoin too.
Absolutely, I totally agree. In terms of altcoins, we mentioned Solana, you mentioned Cardano. How do you feel about the regulations and the current lawsuit for Ripple, essentially not allowing people to be able to invest? At least here in the East Coast, we're not allowed to be able to buy or sell Ripple.
Yeah, so XRP has been going through this for a long time now. And actually, I think it was earlier this year, or I think later last year, where they had the case when they finally said it wasn't like a security, right? That was the biggest thing, if it was or wasn't a security. And finally, they reached some sort of agreement. But I know in certain regions, you still can't purchase it, or it's still like illegal technically. But even after that case, I think it popped up like 50 to 100%. So I think it's very volatile. I do think that that case is really big on crypto itself in general, because a lot of these, the SEC is trying to push a lot of regulations, even on Bitcoin itself, just to say, what's right, what's wrong. But at the end of the day, they're only doing this because they know where it's headed, and they want everyone to fall into their CBDC, like I was explaining earlier. They don't want people to buy crypto. They don't want people to have the power in their hands. They want all the power to themselves. And in all reality, I feel like they're behind the curtains, they're buying crypto themselves, and they just want to continue regulating it as much as they can until they just can't anymore.
Just the government in general is so against
Mhm.
decentralization of liquid assets that it's kind of surprising that now they're the ones siding with giant corporate companies like Fidelity and BlackRock and their ETFs. Do you feel like at a certain point, even though these tokens are decentralized with the purpose of giving people power back in terms of their financials future, do you feel like at eventually the government will hold us hostage, how they do with current fiat currency?
In the sense of like crypto, like they won't let us sell it and stuff like that.
Yeah, do you think there'll come a point where there might be so many people, investing into ETFs, and it's basically us buying into BlackRock supply or Fidelity supply, that eventually they'll be able to short the supply or control it once they have enough of it?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like there's so much like market manipulation when it comes to the government. And we've seen that in stocks before. Like if we
Oh
go
yeah.
back to the whole the GameStop thing that happened with the stocks, like they completely just halted trading. They have the power to do that. They can because they know these, big institutions or even these big trading desks and these, these big people that have so much money in it that they don't want them to lose because those are big corporations that America runs on because America is just super corporate. So if these people start losing, then people will be losing jobs and the economy will fall. They just want to keep the economy up as much as they can. So they will try to limit as much as they can. But the crazy part is the ETF doesn't technically buy you Bitcoin. Like it tracks the price of Bitcoin and it's strictly just an ETF. So technically it's just a stock. But if you buy the physical asset Bitcoin, like if you can buy it through like Coinbase or various other exchanges, then they can't touch it. So I would always recommend like the ETF. Yes, it's a great investment, and if you're not too tech savvy, you don't know how it works, then you can go that route. But I would say just take some time to learn about it and really buy the actual asset because Bitcoin's only ever going to be a 21 million supply, and it will never be more, never less. So there's only so many people that can buy it at the end of the day. So I would say just buy the physical Bitcoin asset and just leave the ETF alone. And yeah, and then just to expand on that, I know I talked about a few other altcoins and comparing it to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, I feel like are the backbones of crypto. Bitcoin is digital gold, right? It's the safe store value asset. And then you have Ethereum, which is a full network, layer one, where you can build other things on top of it. So Ethereum runs on smart contracts. These smart contracts create things like altcoins, NFTs, and other things on Ethereum. And then these other small altcoins, that's honestly where the money is going to be made. So in bull markets, you obviously want to diversify your portfolio. So you want a good, healthy amount of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I also recommend Chainlink. Chainlink is an Oracle based cryptos, and basically what Oracle's is it takes off chain data and it brings it on chain. So, for example, if you want to track the price of a coin, it comes from off chain on chain. So that's what Chainlink does. It's the number one Oracle. So it brings in that data. So I feel like these three coins are literally the backbone and the structure of crypto. But if you really go deeper down into these altcoins, that's where you're going to see like insane gains. So I would say have some portfolio for these altcoins. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of these meme coins, like things like Doge, right? With Elon Musk backing Doge and it going up insane. So we have new coins like that. For example, there's this new Pepe coin. So Pepe the Frog's like the number one meme in the entire world, and it's actually went from since it came out, it went from like zero up to over $1 billion market cap in the span of 19 days, which is a record, faster than Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, anything else I ever mentioned. Like it made history. So there's a lot of coins like that are currently coming out. One that I've been talking a lot about on my channel and that you can check out and you can see is it's called Pork, and it's basically a fork of Pepe. So it takes that Pepe coin and they just forked it. So all a fork is, it's just a different version of the original coin. So these are all just meme coins that are currently coming out. And if you dive deep enough, not just on Ethereum, you can go on Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, all these other layer ones, and you can find all these meme coins. But I would say at least have like small portion, maybe 5-10% for like those moon bags, because it's gonna get crazy really soon.
I'm excited for the future, especially because, like you mentioned, I was watching a few of your videos, and the fact that Pepe got $1 billion market cap that quick, it just shows that there is power in the people. If people get together and actually put their funds into the right coins, then they can gain a lot of financial independence. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the goal at the end of the day, right? For all of us to be financially free, and nothing happens overnight. I stress this a lot too. It's like no one's gonna get rich overnight. It's a process. But if you're here for this next bull run, for these next 2 years, and who knows, maybe we see a super cycle and we just go on for the next 10, 15 years, and we just don't have a big bear market anymore. Like it really looks like we're headed towards that. Just I would say just pay attention, stick around, have some exposure in crypto. It's like it's probably the best way to go.
Yeah, definitely, man. Would you say that now that Bitcoin is so major, not only in the United States but worldwide, we've seen ATMs coming out sporadically in different parts of the world. Do you feel like at a certain point this could be a currency where we can now do transactions for big things like homes or land, vehicles?
100%. And I think that's the exact route we're going down. Not only just we're seeing ATMs, we see countries like Salvador, for example, they
Yeah,
completely adopted Bitcoin as their actual currency. They went through that process. I believe it was like 2, 3 years ago, where they went through that whole process and they declared it. They were the first country to do so, and they declared it as their actual currency. I think we'll see more and more countries do that, and then maybe people are using these digital currencies. Maybe they'll back their digital currencies with Bitcoin itself, or like obviously some stable coin, because you want to back it with some stable value, but they're backing it with blockchain. So that's going to be more and more bullish for Bitcoin, like I said before. And not only that, Bitcoin has a fork as well, which is called Bitcoin Cash. So I feel like not just Bitcoin, but these other forks like Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin is another fork too. They're going to be used probably within the whole structure itself too. So you can just pull out your phone. You don't need to walk around with a wallet or credit cards, debit cards. That will be completely non-existent. Everything will just be through your phone, and all you do is just send a transaction, and boom, you're done. Like you just pay for it. And like I was saying before, there I think the nomination that they're going to break it down in is satoshis. They're going to break it down in sats. So like instead of, obviously you're not going to be like 0.000 like 1001. You're not going to be like, oh, that's how much this bag of chips costs. You're going to be like, oh, it costs one satoshi, which is the equivalent of 0.10 whatever, how many ever zero, and then one Bitcoin, because you have to price it in a certain way. So I do feel like we're eventually going to head there, and maybe these next few generations are going to use Bitcoin as their main currency.
yeah, I definitely do see that happening as well. Just because like you mentioned, big figures like Elon Musk supporting altcoins like I wouldn't even call it an altcoin per se. I would call it a meme coin, like you said, like
Hmm.
Dogecoin and things of the sort. If these things were actually were to come to like major stadiums for people to buy snacks and buy actual perishable items, then we could see a big turn in the way that we handle transactions as a whole.
Yeah, 100%. And it's honestly insane to see it, because when I came into the space was 2019, when I jumped in right before the last bull run, and everyone was just like, crypto is dead, it's completely done, it's going to zero. You see all these headlines, and now over the years you're seeing like you see like crypto.com has their own arena. I think it's in LA. I don't know exactly where, I'm blanking out on it, but then you have these new commercials coming out. Then you have an ETF now, and you have big institutions buying. It's just like a complete shift in paradigms. Like eventually they're just going to join in, and that's kind of like what us crypto heads kind of saw from the start. It's like if you truly believe in something and you're early to the technology, that's how you're going to profit off of it, and it's just nice to see it actually come into play.
It's amazing to see, just a lot of the people that doubted in back in 2019, and then, most people who actually held saw a lot of profits maybe pulled out back in 2021 during, the major kind of spike for altcoins, for Bitcoin, for everything in general. I feel like a lot of people missed out personally just because, maybe people didn't see things in a large scope like you did. Whereas, some people pulled out for the quick profits. And I'm sure, how there is a lot of day trading with regular stocks. There's some day trading going on with Bitcoin and, Ethereum, them being layer ones. Would you say, which altcoins would you say are, on the same track as Bitcoin and Ethereum and, and in their respective sectors?
Yeah, so just like I was breaking down the other sectors, I can start with DeFi. So the top DeFi platforms is Aave, like I said. Another big one that I really like is called Thorchain. It's called Rune. So essentially, it does cross-chain swaps. So you know how you have different, like I was saying, layer ones. So Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, so on. You also have layer twos that are built on top of layer ones. And the goals of layer twos are just to offload the data onto layer two, like the whole transactions and whatever is going on to like make it less clogged. And what that does, it makes transactions cheaper and a lot faster. So a layer two on Ethereum, for example, the gas cost would be like $1 and it would transact in like less than a second. Where on Ethereum, the cost would be like $30, $40 and it would transact in like maybe 30 seconds. And also, just to clarify, for those of you who don't know, the gas costs. So every time you transact on Ethereum, Bitcoin, anything else, there's a gas fee involved. And that gas fee is paid out to the people running the chain and also just to keep the chain moving. So what that is just a fee. So if there's more people, more users on chain, that fee is going to be higher. So that's what layer twos do. They're built on top of layer ones. So what this cross chain swap does is it goes from a layer one to a layer one, or from a layer one to a layer two, or layer two, so on. So you don't have to go, you can't, obviously you can't just go from Ethereum to Solana, for example. You can't just move your assets from that there to there. You can't just send off your Ethereum wallet. You have to go through what is called a bridge. So you bridge your assets from one chain to another. So that's what Thorchain does with Room. And if we're talking about meme coins, I like the Pepe coin, but I am a little more bullish. I'm a little more biased. Obviously, not financial advice, but I'm a little more biased on the Port coin because it's a fork of Pepe and it's like a new shift in the crypto world. It's known as Crypto 2.0. It's a whole ecosystem. It's called the Pond ecosystem. And you can check that out on my channel too. I have a lot of videos about it. I really like that whole project. I like the developer behind it. His name is Pauly. I've been following his work for a while now. So I really like that project and I think it's going places. Other meme coins, I would say on Ethereum, I would go off of, there's this meme coin called Bitcoin. And it's actually pretty funny. The ticker is Bitcoin, but the actual name of the coin is Harry Potter Obama Sonic Inu, something like that. It's like a long name.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's like a long name and it's like a complete joke. Like people
Yeah.
just look at it, they're like, "Oh my god, this is like, what is this?" But the ticker is Bitcoin, like the actual ticker. But it's
Yeah.
obviously you're not buying Bitcoin, and it's just like there's these ridiculous coins like that are going on everywhere. And the thing is, like, you don't have to buy existing meme coins either. Like when the meme coin season hits, and I'm telling you it does, like people are making new coins like by the second. Like so recently we had a Solana meme coin season probably last month. I got a little bit of action of that. And we were seeing like meme coins that were made in one day and they ran from like 0 to like 100 million, 200 million market cap. So if we're looking at gains, you're running from 0 to, if you invest like $100, that $100 so 1,000x, so 100 to $100,000. Like that's dumb money. That's money that you just don't see all the time. So you have to kind of be quick and catch in on these actions. And another one that I really like for talking DeFi is Silo. Silo Finance. It does the same thing that Aave does, but it keeps their lending pools in different silos, so it's less risky. So you can't really like hack into it as easily. And if you did hack into one pool, you're not hacking into the main pool. So Aave, which was the DeFi platform that I said, they actually had a hack that took like billions. It may have been millions or billions from them. It was like one of the biggest DeFi hacks. So Silo kind of works in different ways. It makes it more secure and faster, better way to basically lend out money and obviously be able to give money and borrow it. So I really like those projects specifically. Outside of that, did say Chainlink is a big oracle. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink are always my top three. And really, I don't have very specific winners that I choose. Like I have the long term bag of the top three, and then I have some meme coin portfolio, maybe a little bit of DeFi. But I kind of like to stay active in the market, so I'll trade it more rather than actually just being in one asset that whole time. So I would say just focus on these sectors, AI too, like I said, and just really try to follow where the attention is because that's where most of the money's going to go. Where people place their attention, that's where you want to throw in and really start getting your money in there.
Absolutely. One of the resources that I use is CoinGecko. What are some resources that you can advise our viewers to use to stay up to date, especially with the surge of more meme coins and altcoins now that crypto 2.0 is in place?
Yeah, so I actually use CoinGecko a lot too. I love that platform. I use that to track a lot of these coins. Coin Market Cap is another one if you're just trying to look across different websites to see any differences as far as like market cap and price. But one thing that I like to look at for live price and new coin drops is called Dex Tools. So they actually have a live chart and they show you across multiple chains. So for they can show you across Ethereum, they can show you across, Solana, all these other chains, these other different layer twos like Base. So they'll show you exactly what's coming out. So there's a section called live new pairs, and it'll show you new pairs that come out. That's a good way during meme season to like get into these new coins that just come out. And then there's also live charts on there. So you can basically like search anything you want. You just need the contract address or the exact ticker name, and then you search it and you can see a live chart, similar to the trading view. Trading view is a place where you can see these charts. You can look at the candles. I prefer to use bars depending on how you want to look at your charts, but I think Dex Tools is a really good website to look at.
Now, when you're speaking about Dex tools, it really brings me back to Morningstar, and like you mentioned, like these other resources that people could use to kind of look at the candles, see the performances. Is there a parallel when it comes to trading regular assets and digital assets in terms of how people might use, an RSI, resistance bands, and things of the sort to, predict their trading?
Yeah, it's actually very similar. If we're looking at crypto specifically, it's very similar to just traditional markets if you're comparing it to stocks. Though, really, the biggest difference between traditional and crypto is just, I would say, volatility. That's the biggest difference. Crypto is like 10, even up to 100 times more volatile than stocks because stocks have it's been much longer market. Crypto is much younger, and it still needs more regulation. Like I was saying, it still needs a few more cycles to actually be a little less volatile and more like sturdy and just steady growth. So yes, you can look at many indicators. I would say it's just sped up. That's the biggest difference. So yeah, you can look at RSI, you can look at everything, just like the MAs, like the moving averages. You can look at different chart patterns like head and shoulders or wedges, anything of that sort. So if you're really into technical analysis, I would say crypto is a great place to be because you could be waiting for a stock to break out or fall down for, like, let's just say a couple weeks. In crypto, that could happen in a couple days because it just, like I said, it just moves super quick. So you could take your knowledge of technical analysis from traditional markets or any other market and kind of translate it to the crypto market, because at the end of the day, the analysis stays the same.
Amazing. I think we covered most of the points today. Would with everything happening right now, would you say that all the spikes in cryptocurrency are also not because of the ETFs, but a lot of emotional investing?
Yeah, 100%. Like people that were looking at it at 30k, we even had a low of 15k. That was just last year. They're now probably kicking themselves. They're going to start FOMOing in. That's straight emotional trading. That's what FOMO is. People just jump in because they see the price going up like crazy, but that's never a way you want to trade. You want to be calm, collected, and really just strike. Like treat it more like a job, right? You don't want to just throw your money in and lose your capital. The goal is to preserve your capital and protect it at all costs. So if you FOMO in, you're never going to do that. So I always have good practices like DCAing, like I said earlier. I would say that's probably the best way to go. And even if you were to buy now, just keep buying the dips and make sure you have enough dry powder and enough capital on the side to continuously buy, and like definitely plan it out. That's all I could say.
Yeah, for our viewers, definitely maintain a steady strategy to be able to invest into these coins because they are the future. However, there is an importance and a lesson in FOMOing because a lot of people just don't have that. People have that fear of missing out, so they might invest more than they can lose, and that's
Mhm.
where things might take a turn for the worse.
100%. Yeah. Just be smart about it. Have a plan. map it out. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to people that you know. You could reach out to me too, that I help advise people. Just kind of be you. When you dive into it, you'll understand it a lot more. Just really just go do it and just try to understand it and put yourself in the crypto space.
Absolutely. And would you want to share with the viewers your coaching program for crypto as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I have a coaching program where I sit down with you one on one, virtually, and we can cover anything you want crypto. We can cover any concept. I can go over anything I went over in this video, or really just anything you want to talk about. And that's what I offer through my coaching services. You could reach out to me directly through my YouTube channel, to my email, and I have a link in all my videos too in the descriptions.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time today, Crypto Compass. Do you have anything
Thank
else to
you.
say to the viewers?
Just that crypto is going to the moon, and I can't wait for it. And I hope that we all get wealthy and we find financial freedom through it. That's it.
Absolutely. If
Yeah.
you guys want to see content like this, make sure you subscribe. The handle is right here at the bottom left, Crypto Compass 24. New videos every week.
Yep. Every week. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you having me on.